Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, America, tujikaze, tujikaze, tujikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javanokelo, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Thank you so much for joining me here for another amazing session with my brother Billian Ojiwa. This is a special edition of the African Father in America podcast, and we are here on Friday evening, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is around 8 a.m. in Nairobi, and we are here for a 1 hour session where we are going to chat a little bit about what's going on in Kenya, but particularly talk about the story of Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga is an enigma in Kenyan politics, and next year is Kenya's election, and is a legend in Kenyan and African history in general. I'm going to touch a little bit on his story in a moment, but I also want to just introduce my brother and my friend Billian Ojiwa, who is joining me from Nairobi. And I want to give Billian a moment to just introduce himself and just say hi before I go ahead and introduce him. And then we can get into our conversation today, where we are going to talk about what happened this week in Kenya in terms of politics, and in terms of the campaigns to ensure that Raila Odinga becomes the next Kenyan president, but also what are some of the preparation that Billian is doing within his own campaign to become Mathare's next member of parliament. I truly believe that when we support young leaders like Billian, and we support transformative leaders like Raila Odinga, then we are bringing the change that we've always been talking about, that we want Africa to be transformed. We want our communities to be led by people with integrity and people with a vision. And so if you're meeting Billian for the first time, he is a community organizer in Mathare and an alumni of Mandela Washington Leadership Program for young African leaders. And he is also a 2018 Austrian Leadership Program alumni. Billian is also the founder of the Billian Foundation and the Ficha Uchi initiative, and also an aspirant for the 2022 Mathare Parliamentary seat. So make sure you're following Billian on Twitter. His handle is, I just want to grab your handle here. His handle is at Billian Ojiwa. So make sure you're checking out Billian on Twitter. I'm really grateful, Dana. Thank you for joining us. And also I see that Dr. Pius has also joined us on Clubhouse as well. So Billian, I want you to just introduce yourself briefly so that those who are joining us for the first time can learn a little bit more about you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Simon, for having me. As you mentioned, I think you've done an amazing work with the introduction. So my name is Billian Ojiwa, a community mobilizer and organizer in Mathare, born and raised in Mathare. I run the Billian Foundation in Mathare, which is a community-based organization aimed at, pushing for social change in my community. So I'm involved in so many activities: youth empowerment, support to children with disabilities, women empowerment, talent development, and by extension, during COVID-19, we also looked at interventions of, supporting the community during the pandemic. So that is more of what I'm involved in. I'm also an artist, so I used to be a musician, just a retired musician. So yeah, and currently vying as Mathare's next member of parliament. So working on how to lead my community. Just try to actualize, open the circle for the things that I've been doing to support more community.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Billian. And I know, having grown up in Kenya and just having a good enough understanding of what it feels like to campaign and become a leader, but also to be a father like yourself. You're a father of a young family, and I really value leaders that put family first. And I want us to go back, long before you and I were born. Raila Odinga was born, and is like the father of democracy in Kenya, and is currently the High Representative for the Africa Union, who is responsible for infrastructure and development across Africa, but is someone who has struggled for the free democratic space in Kenya that we all enjoy today. This is someone who was jailed without trial. He was detained without trial for over 9 years. He was in exile in Norway. He was in exile multiple times, and somehow he ended up becoming the member of parliament for Langata, in the same city where you're vying to become the member of parliament. And then he became the prime minister of Kenya, and he has vied multiple times to become the Kenyan president, and he has not succeeded. But many of us also know that the elections have always been rigged, and now it's being said publicly by even some of the people that participated in the irregularities. So now that this week, there were some major events that happened. Number one, Willy Mutunga, who is the former Chief Justice, who is a respected figure in Kenyan politics, said that if elections were held, a few days ago, Raila Odinga would not win. But the current Deputy President William Ruto would win the elections. I want you to share your perspectives about what Willy Mutunga said. Number two, Raila Odinga was basically, during the presidential address, the speech that the president gave to the joint parliament, he showered Raila Odinga with a lot of praises. And then the next day, Nakuru, which is the fourth largest city in Kenya now, was declared a city. Before that, it was a municipality. These three events, for me, they indicate that this week, the progress towards Raila Odinga becoming the next Kenyan president are becoming very clear. He's being supported by the government, and I just wanted you to speak to what you saw in regards to these three events. And then after that, I want us to come to what you did in regards to your own campaign. And also after that, we are going to talk about how people who are watching this live YouTube conversation, or those who are listening to it later on in the African Father in America podcast, can support you. Because as I was saying in the beginning, one of the things I'm passionate about is to see to it that young leaders like yourself take leadership positions and spearhead ambitious dreams like the ones that you have. So speak to us about these three major events that happened in Kenya, in Kenyan politics this week.
Thank you so much, Simon, for having me. First, my friend, and everybody entitled to their own, and I don't know where he did the research to come up with with such a solution. But sometimes politics is about perceptions, and one thing that we know that has not happened, Raila Odinga has not declared that he's going to be the president. So that one will be happening next week on Friday, the 10th. So from them now, Raila Mutunga or whoever can now start gauging the two. So it's just been consulting widely. So it is good that, while consulting widely, is being highly praised to be, they've said he would come second. So he hasn't started campaigning. William Ruto started campaigning right after election. In fact, when they were campaigning for the second he already said that he was gonna run, so been run alone for all time. So, but I think as things stands, all of us or many people believe that William Ruto was going to be the next president because he was running alone. There was nobody was confronting him. But for the last few months, I think two or three or so, Raila has come out strongly to consult widely. I think they were saying he can't climb the mountain. He's been able to climb the mountain. You've not mentioned that on Saturday, I think Friday and Saturday, he was in Nyeri, and those were big events where the governors were there. There was a support for him. So so if he declares on next week on Friday, now we can compare the notes. Now he has not declared, but as things stands, I can tell you for free that Raila is the next Kenyan president. I think, and there's a lot that comes with that. The wisdom, that he has, the patience that he has for our country. He has all that we need for the next government because we've seen the government. I support young people. I support youthful people, but there are sometimes we need somebody who can bring the country together. And if you look at what is happening on the other side, there's a lot of names throwing, a lot of bitterness, which you don't need as a country. We need somebody who can come and bring us all together, and because we are a bad place after the pandemic. So I believe Raila Odinga is in a position to bring the country together to steer the growth that we need in this country. So I don't support Willy Tunga, but as is my friend, everybody's entitled on opinion. So maybe that is how he thinks. Moving forward, there were so many things that happened during the week. You've just mentioned two or three of them. It's been a crazy, busy week for Raila Odinga, and it's somebody when he wants something, he gives he gives his all. So he was also at the Luo Festival, which is also a bigger platform for our Luo community, and just assuring them that we are in this together. So that was also another bigger platform for him. He was in Nakuru for the launch of the Nakuru city. And as the next president, I think it was just clear indications because if you look at what President Uhuru said, he just pointed of what he wants. And I think he means well for this country. And sometimes it's your friends that can reveal who you are. So Uhuru has been William Ruto's very close friend. He's worked with him for the longest time. So I think he's in a better position for us to listen to him, what he's saying. There's something that he knows that all of us doesn't know, that he's trying to give us indications. He's trying to use sign languages for us to see. And if we don't see it, then he'll say, it's up to you. I tried to convince you to tell you that this guy is not what you think. And we're having this conversation with today, and the conversation, chat as young leaders to see what we think about our country. And it's not just to support Raila Odinga, but also to think about the opportunities that will be there for us as young people and as young leaders. So having even leaders from Ruto's side because as young leaders, I think what is more important for us is a better country that we were going to inherit, and just talking about realities of what is happening. So Kisumu City, the opening of Kisumu City was also so significant to the president because it's a perceived, the area is perceived to be somebody else's backyard, and by extension, Uru's backyard, and it's in Rift Valley. So they say Raila doesn't have a support in Rift Valley. So Nakuru is part of Rift Valley, and they're responding very well to his wide consultation been doing. And that is second or third time that he's been in Nakuru. Looking at he was also present at the State of the Nation address by the president, Uhuru mentioned a lot of things about him, and also mentioned about the BBI, which Raila and himself were pushing for, and he said the BBI will be back. And while saying that, he said, that he knows where the loose ends that needs to be tightened so that we have a better country. Maybe he was not in a position to do that because of maybe the people he was working with, or maybe because he's never worked closely with Raila Amolo Odinga. So right now, with their working relationship, I think he strongly believes that they'll be able to pull something even after the election. So that was also significant. And if you look at the social media, everybody was like Raila, because that was Uhuru's last State of the Nation address in Parliament. So soon we'll not have Parliament. Maybe by February or March next year. Yeah, they'll dissolve the Parliament. So it was so significant, and it was to have so and other leaders present. So yeah, so those have been some of the events. He's been to Migori. He was in Migori. He was in Homa Bay yesterday. They opened the KMTC in Migori. I saw. I don't remember the name of the sugar company that was also supported by around 139 million. So he's also trying to not just to say, I will do. He's trying to collaborate with some of government agencies to do what he can at his mom. And now we have a big week next week where he's going to announce officially that he's running for the presidency. So all of us are looking forward to that now. When you're campaigning, we know for sure that this is what he wants, and a lot is going to happen after that. He's working on having his running mate also too soon. So yeah, it's interesting. So interesting times ahead.
Thank you so much, Billian. AC, thank you for joining us on Clubhouse. I'm live streaming this conversation on YouTube, and I'm doing this every Friday at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and that's 8 a.m. Kenyan time, East African time. Next year, national elections are being held in Kenya, and I am in conversation with Billian Ojiwa, who is a community activist, but he's also running for Member of Parliament in Mathare, which is one of the biggest slums in Nairobi, the capital city of Kenya. So, I'm someone who believes in young leaders, and I've seen Billian work in community and grow as a leader, and I've seen him solve problems in his community, and that's part of why it's really, really a privilege that he has agreed to have this conversation with me, so that he can share with me directly what's going on the ground in Kenya, and how can other young African and Black people globally also learn how to, rise from the ghetto and become leaders of our communities. And so we are sharing today's conversation, but centering around the story of Raila Amolo Odinga. And Raila Amolo Odinga is someone who literally sacrificed his life for the democratic space in Kenya. Kenya, in the diaspora and in the world right now, even if we look at the tech world, Kenya is known because of M-Pesa, which is the digital money transfer system. Without Kenya beginning this digital money movement, even cryptocurrency would have not been there. Even Bitcoin would have not been there. So many people don't give Kenya credit for starting the digital money movement. But you find that people like Raila Amolo Odinga are the ones who have made the country stable enough for investors, for young people like Billian, and even for the civil society to thrive. So is an elder. He is almost 80 years old, but he's still very active, and is someone that has always sacrificed his opportunities for the sake of the country. Multiple times he's been at the brink of becoming the president, but he's chosen peace instead of going to war like many other African countries. If you look at Ethiopia right now, if you look at the Congo, Uganda just sent its troops across the border to the Congo to deal with rebels in the Congo. So Kenya has been known as the oasis of peace in most of Africa over the last 5 decades. And a lot of it, if you look at those 5 decades, 3 of those 5 decades, you will find it sprinkled with the story of Raila Odinga. And that's why he is such an inspiration for someone like me, and also for a leader like Billian. So Billian, AC is someone that I look up to. I just want to give him a moment so that he can quickly introduce himself. And then after that, I want you to share, with the listeners and the viewers, how your week was, how this week was for you, some of your struggles, as a young father. How old is your son, by the way, Billian?
Oh, for the head of me was telling what to be and two weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, not easy running for office with a little one like that. But again, AC, just take the mic, introduce yourself briefly, and then we'll give Billian a chance to share with us, how this week was for him, and also what his plans are and how everyone who is listening and watching can support his efforts. Okay, okay, AC, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Simon. I'm really, really inspired by stories like Raia. So I'm here to listen. As a person who is a first-generation American whose parents are both from West Africa, I really, really appreciate the organizing and the youth, because that is the perspective that we need to listen to instead of the media. So I'm really grateful for this interview. And as someone who works in tech, I'm very familiar with M-Pesa and mobile money and what it really did as a platform for not only the continent, but the technology in general. So, Mike, back to you, Simon.
AC, thank you so much. I'm just so grateful that you're here. And, I love bringing people like Billian to spaces like Clubhouse so that we can just amplify his voice and also bring the story of what's really happening in Africa to people who have never been there, and people who also value, the progress in Africa. David, I'll give you the mic in a moment. And Thai, also thank you for joining us. Billian, share with us, just briefly how this week was for you, with your work in Mathare, and also what were some of your struggles? What were some of the successes that you saw this week?
Thank you so much, Simon. I think it's been a pretty crazy week for me, but I am so thankful that everything is working. First of all, it's the schools were just opening from half term, so this is one of the times that a lot of our parents, if you look at the background of Mathare, most of the parents are from very humble. Mathare is pretty a slum, so people struggle with the basic needs. So this is the week now we have mobilizing our friends to support us to help the kids go back to school. And I worked closely with the daughter of the Chief Justice, Kome. So we were able to raise money around 150,000 Kenya shillings to.
This is Simon speaking. We are losing Billian. His connection is a little unstable at the moment. But we are hosting this session titled The Story of Raila Odinga with Billian Ojiwa. And Raila Odinga is an elder, is an African legend. He's probably the next Nelson Mandela of Africa, and is someone who, as we speak, is the Africa Union High Representative for Infrastructure and Development. And in Kenya, is really the people's president. You know, when elections were held in 2017, he had won the elections, and it was disputed, and so the president was sworn in one ceremony, and a few days later he was sworn in as the people's president. And so people were very, very scared that he might be jailed. There might be there might be a war as a result. The country might be divided into various regions as a result of that, of the fact that we have two presidents. And so for me, it's always intriguing as a Kenyan living in the diaspora. It's always intriguing what's going on the ground in Kenya. And I've always wanted to not just listen, but to contribute to the change that is going on in Africa. And this is the first time I would say that I have worked closely with someone who is pushing to become a leader. In the past, I have worked with other political leaders just because of projects that I have been involved with or that I have led in the community, where we've invited, for example, the Minister of Health to open a health clinic that I was involved with running in Beta in South Nyanza, around Lake Victoria in Kenya. So for me, this show is really to create space for a leader like Billian. He's one of those leaders that have completely been forgotten, and I just want to create space and support him. So David, you're someone who is also from Kenya, and you are equally passionate about the future of Kenya and the future of Africa, just like myself or Billian. And I just want you to take a moment, share with us your perspectives about Raila Odinga, and then your thoughts or comments to Billian. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Simon. And thank you, Billian. I hope you can hear me, although I know probably you must still be having some internet issues. And also, let me also just take time here to thank AC, Antai, Domingo, Maisela, and Alama, and also Mwenge. Thank you so much for joining. Yes, my name is David Otieno. I'm also from Kenya, but right now I'm based in New York. I have a tech background. I'm really passionate about how we can change the narrative of Africa, especially ensuring that we are united, ensuring that we can work with each other, and also just ensuring that we mobilize the youth so they can be able to understand what is required for them so they can tackle some of the challenges we have on the 21st century. So those are some of the things I do. Of course, Simon, you are probably aware of a lot of projects that we are trying to do together. I will say two things today about Honorable Raila Odinga, because somebody I've always admired, especially when it comes to his principles and what he stands for, which is equality for everyone, and just the fact that he would like us to be united. I know the story about unity started a long time ago with Kwame Nkrumah. If you guys have ever listened to the speech, he talked about let's unite now. We can't postpone unity, because once you postpone unity, then you will break or you will allow the enemy to come in and manipulate you. So if you can remember that speech, it was in 1948. Kwame Nkrumah told us, we need to be united now. We need to have Africa, United States of Africa. Some leaders said, no, let's do it progressively. Some people said, let's do it now. But we know all what happened. Now, in Kenya, as well as we are speaking, there is that story of let's get united. And some people say, no, 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 it's not the right time. I'm telling you, if you don't get united, we'll get disrupted. So I like sometimes when our leaders have this very focused kind of thinking and really go to the fundamental things that we need to do to be able to move forward as a community. So that's one aspect I wanted to say. And then the other one I wanted to point out when it comes to Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, Rao, that's how they call him, is the fact that he's also very entrepreneurial. I don't know if you are not aware, but when I started working, I used to work for a company called Unilever, and I was really surprised. They have a small factory somewhere in Elida Ponds, is somewhere in industrial area. And when I go through there, I used to see Raila's enterprise. He was actually manufacturing gases, and that was quite kind of very entrepreneurial. Leaders who think about small businesses, because the youth need to think about small businesses. We need to think about starting companies that will finally fuel Africa, fuel Kenya, fuel Tanzania, and all the other countries we have in Africa. If we cannot start these companies, it doesn't have to be in major cities. It also has to be in villages, in communities. If we don't fuel them now, somebody will do it for you. So I really respect the fact that we have a leader who thinks about the people, who also think about entrepreneurship, and who is really standing right for equality for all. Those are my thoughts right now, Simon, and I hope that Billian, you can hear me, because when I first came to Nairobi, I lived in Mathare. I remember, so I know very well what life is in over there. And it's just through the mindset, the way I actually just became positive about life. And I said, I have to change the way I want to live. And from there on, I moved from, stage by stage, one step at a time, until now, I feel that I can give back to the community again. So thank you so much, Sam.
Oh, you're most welcome, David. I just want to pass the microphone to Billian so that Billian, you can respond to what David has shared, and then share with us how people can support you. And I wonder if you shared with us some of your struggles this week, because Billian, I also want you to take this space as a space where you can also breathe, because you're much like me. You always just put your head down and focus and focus and focus until you accomplish the goal that you have. But this is not, the mainstream media where, I want you to be under pressure. I just want you to breathe and know that everything is going to be fine. So I want you to talk about the challenges, but also share with us some of the exciting things that you're hoping for. Like, imagine you're closing your eyes and you've now become the member of parliament for Mathare. Share with us some of your visions, some of the things that you want to see, and some of the people that you want to come to your life to help you manifest some of these things that you are hoping for. So I'll pass you the microphone.
Thank you, and great to hear. We call ourselves comrade, yeah. So, David, it is so inspiring, and sometimes I wish have men, like you can share with younger brothers, because in Mathare, if you've lived in Mathare, every single day we lose young people to to crazy stuff that are happening, and it's because we sometimes lack leadership that can give us direction, and a few of us that pull through, we need to invest back and make that community a place. So it's great, and thanks for the insights about Raila Odinga and more respect, that passes across the generations. And we hope the same history that we know about Raila Odinga can be passed to the coming generations, because we are at a country where we don't document, history. Our history is not documented. You cannot, go to one place or and understand our history. I've been able to read a couple of autobiographies, like the one for Mudi Awori, and he shares the insights, some of the things that we know we were not taught in school. So thank you for sharing, David. Simon, I can tell you for free that first of all, it is not easy for young people when you're running for the office, especially in Kenya, because one, for the longest time, politics was for the retirees. People would make their money and then come invest in politics. And when that happens, it means the lifespan that they have, the vision that they have, cannot be compared with the vision we have, the energy that we have, and being able to be there to be criticized. Because I tell people while I'm campaigning, when I'm talking to guys, that I don't want to put my life and my kids' life into something that I know I'm gonna mess up. So I have so many years to live. I have so many stages in life to grow into as a young leader. So I would never want to mess it at this stage. So that is the first indicator, because I have the visions for a community. I have been able to support the students going to school. And I want to close, as I close my eyes, as you said, I want to see a Mathare community that, the struggle for basic needs is is something that it's doable. Today now, there are families, there are people who are not able to sleep into their house because we are not able to pay their rent. As we speak today, there are people who don't even know what they'll eat during lunchtime. There are people today that are having their kids who are supposed to be in school with them. They don't know where to go or what to do. There's somebody who's been raised there who understands some of those struggles. I think one of the things that I want to do, and I remember when I was in Seattle and we were discussing this with you, for me, it's not just about winning the elections. It's about the post-election is more important to me than winning the election, because that is when the real job will start. Looking for collaborations, and I want to visit the US to come for graduations for students from Mathare, not to come and have fun. I want to be invited by students who said, through you, we were able to get those scholarships. We were able to be in universities, come for our graduations. So those are the things that I look at when I close my eyes. If you look at Mathare setup, the population by itself is a target market for so many companies, so many companies. But if you look at what the community gets from those companies, is close to zero. So my bigger picture is to see how we can collaborate with some of these companies to give opportunities to our young people. I want to see in 10, 15 years a CEO of a big company, some roots can be traced to Mathare, and those are the success stories that will be able to inspire young people during that time to work hard, to know that the world is fair for all of us. But as it is right now, is everybody for himself, and it's very, 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 very hard to pull through, because one, we don't have a leadership that is committed or intentionally committed to seeing that the lives of our people is changed. So that is my vision, is to see how do we strengthen education, because that is one of the platforms that we can can get the next one. How do we prioritize the development? How do we prioritize the partnerships that can give opportunities to our young people and our mothers? You remember doing a fundraiser to support small-scale business women around Mathare. Those are the people that are there. They're the ones who are paying school fees. There's some burdens that when we offload from them, they are able to live even longer. So those are my plans. But it's not easy. Because it's politics. Now it changes from the vision you have for the people. It changes from for the things that you are doing for the people to politics, where now uh, big money or community. So I am every day, I hope that even in the Bible, there's time that for liberation. There's time that God says, enough is enough, my people. It is time for you to also be to live with dignity. So I pray that during the Raila presidency, I play a role of also building my community and bringing change to my community. And I dedicated the 10 years to make Mathare a player. There's some of the pictures that I take that I'll be showing my grandchildren. This is how Mathare used to look like before I became a member of parliament, and this is now how it looks like after I pulled through with different partners and different people who we share a history of Mathare. So I know you are in one of my groups. We're doing small fundraisers. It's not easy, but I brought together a few friends who believe in my leadership to be able to support my weekly activities. So it is a pressure-free group. You can support with whatever you have, and then my campaign can organize around whatever we raise for the week. So this week we have we have a church service. We have engagements from tomorrow. The next week we have Raila's event, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga's event. Also mobilizing our to attend in numbers. So those are some of ways that the support, the small support, which I really appreciate that I get from people across the globe that believe in my leadership. We used to plan ourselves with. Yeah. So I don't come from a big family. My father was a primary school teacher. My mother was an artist, a batik artist. So the only thing that I inherited from my parents were hope and the surname. So that is what keeps me going. And God has been so faithful, and I have been able to build a strong network that is helping me now. And I believe that by extension, they'll help me to have a good leadership in the community. I will not just raise money from you and run away. I will raise money and I will consult you and still connection to how we can actually that my Ficha. I think I had a meeting with MCA's aspirants from Mathare who are vying on the ODM ticket to see how we can bring our minds together to start planning activities together. So because we are running against somebody who's been in power for 5 years and wants to defend the power, even though he hasn't done much. I voted for him knowing that maybe he would bring change. But, if you vote for an outsider, there's nothing much you can expect from him. So in his part, we want to take over to be able to do things the way the community wants it, according to our list of priorities. Thank you, Simon.
You're most welcome, Billian, and I'm grateful to everyone who is joining us on YouTube. Please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Simon Javan Okelo, and also to everyone who is joining us on Clubhouse. I created a club known as One Love Inawezekana, so you should join that club, or you can invite other people if you're already a member of the club, so that as we continue these sessions every Friday evening, that's Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Kenya time, and that's 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you will be able to join us. Soon we will be inviting other guests into the room. Who knows, we might have Raila Odinga here one day, so you have to pay attention to this conversation that we are starting small. But really, one thing that you can do to help is to connect with me if you want to join the private WhatsApp group that Billian created for some of the key people that are helping him with this effort to become the next member of parliament for Mathare. I am in that group, and I will be supporting him as much as I can through these sessions that we are hosting every week, but also financially I will be supporting. So I encourage you to also show up for him, and we will hold him accountable. We will make sure that some of the things that he is also sharing with us during these sessions that we are hosting, we will follow up, because these are sessions that are recorded. And with that, we've come to the tail end of our conversation today. But before we wrap it up, I want to give David a chance to speak about Africa Day. I have been leading the production of Africa Day for the last 3 years. I organized Africa Day for the Gates Foundation 2 times. And this year, I collaborated with David and a number of people from all across the African diaspora to organize the first 24-hour digital Africa Day celebration. And so we've started organizing and bringing people together for next year's Africa Day. And David is one of the lead organizers, and I want to give him a chance to speak about an event we are hosting tomorrow. David, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Simon, again. And yes, you can add me to that list, so I could also see how I can pitch in a little bit when it comes to what Billian is doing. I'm going to really be brief about the Africa Day. If all of you are aware, Africa Day is a day when the Africa Union, I don't know, maybe Simon, can you mute? Okay, I was hearing an echo. I was wondering what's going on. Okay, so now it's okay. Africa Day is on May 25th every year, and it's the day when we had the Union, when the Union was formed, when all African countries came together and formed Africa Union. Now, each year on the 25th, we celebrate. So last year we did celebrate Africa Day. There were several themes that we had over there, talking about how can we change the narrative of Africa. And there were several aspects of that discussions or that conversation. One was regarding the mindset. One was also regarding the culture and music, arts, also food, and also economic activity that we should really look into, the education system as well. So those are some of the things that we discussed, and then we had agreed that every Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, and actually it is 9 a.m. PST, and Kenya time is 8 p.m. East Africa time. So what we do is we reflect normally, and on this particular Saturday, which is tomorrow, and I think in Kenya, I don't know if it's already, I think it's already Saturday, we are going to talk about African music and its impact in the continent and also other part of the world. So if you have time, please join us. We have several artists. Naomi is coming. We also have Sudanese artists coming to actually discuss with us, and several other people, prominent African, musician coming in to discuss different aspects of music and how it's really impacting the continent and the rest of the world. So please, when you get a chance, jump in and let's come together and have this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. I'm grateful for all the work that you're putting into Africa Day, and I will connect you with Billian so that you can join the group that I'm a part of. So Billian, share with us the closing remarks, and then we are going to end our conversation and come back together again next week.
Yeah, no, I think just to thank you and thank David for everything. Hopefully next time I get to meet you. Last month I was around I think in August, September I was also around. That's when we got to share more with Simon. So I'm just so humble for the platform, and let's keep it growing, because we're giving voices and even alternative voices from what is mainstream media is sharing, and sometimes we break it down without following certain lines. When you are listening, when you're hearing what's happening with mainstream media, everything has been scripted. You have to stick to it. So let's continue sharing with the unscripted conversation with the people who want to listen to this undistorted information. But also let's encourage young people. I think there are more other young people who are running for offices. If you get platform to support, I tell young people that I am not running because I am young. I think it's also with the substance that I bring on board, the vision that I bring, the experience, the network that I have. That's why I am confident I can make my. It should not just be about me. And I believe if I'm people who have substance like me, is when we are able to, keep pushing for the doors that have always been shut for young people, for opportunities. So yeah, let's encourage, let's support more other young people, apart from just Billian. I don't want to be the only young person in Parliament, because for me, I'm not doing it because I'm young. I want to have more other visionary leaders who are in Parliament. And I keep also reminding young people that, the likes of the Orengo, the likes of Raila, the likes of Nyong'o, the likes of Muite, even Martha Karua, even William Ruto, they didn't wait for somebody to come for them, pull them to politics. They joined politics when they were young, when they were vibrant, and they've been over time build their profile. Let's start small and inherit this country. So let's be strategic. Let's work together as a young generation, and whichever political party you come from, when we'll be inheriting this country, it will not be about political parties. And when what you see, if you look at the history of Kenya, people have been organizing and reorganizing themselves during the election. So you never know what will happen in the next 5-10 years election. But let's, highly hold the values that we stand for as young people, and push them, because that is what will give us a base for the so and looking to the group. It's an awesome, easy group. We don't even say anything. We keep updating the team on what is happening, and you can give whatever support you have in installments that you are comfortable with. So thank you. And I believe my closing remarks, I believe that, if we shy away from politics, especially the people who have been able to create such platforms for conversations, people are able to support the visionary leaders that we need to have in Parliament, we will still have a rotten country. So let's come out of your comfort zones, and the only way we can have good leaders in places is by supporting them. If we shy away, the rotten leaders, the bad leaders will come because they have the money, they have bad intentions, and they take over, and we'll have ourselves to blame. And politics, there's no politics for Billian. When the effects of politics affects our people, it affects all of us equally. So there'll be no safe corner for anyone. So let's come out, let's support good leaders that we believe can have substance and have visions for our country. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you, Billian. I am grateful. I'm grateful that you made the time for us to have this conversation. And I am also really, really grateful to Willis, Alana, Tai, David, and also, everyone. We had over 30 people that visited this room over the last 1 hour here on Clubhouse. And all of these people are from various parts of the world. We had a number of Kenyan people that also visited this room. I am really, really grateful. And also to everyone who is watching this on YouTube, thank you so much. And to everyone who is going to listen to this in the African Father in America podcast, thank you so much. Let's connect again next week on Friday, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 a.m. East Africa Time. Billian, you have a wonderful weekend, and I'm just grateful for your time, and I'm excited for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.